G'day and welcome back to Headlight Restoration Perth, where we all get the opportunity to learn from each other. So I am doing a 2013 Subaru Liberty here, and I just wanted to go over the process that I use, which I believe I've been fortunate enough to find a great one early on in the journey of doing these headlight restorations. So when you do find that something that works for you, just stick with it. Like, you don't have to keep on chasing the new best thing or the new product or this, that and the other. When you find the process that works for you and works on a consistent basis, stick with it. You do not have to keep on changing. Just hone the skills on what you have now learned to be your go-to process for headlight restoration. This one that I use, it all comes down to the 5 P's. Proper preparation promotes perfect presentation, and it really does. So as far as I'm concerned, this is exactly what I'm going to be doing today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and I'll be using the same products, the same process, until such a time where I know that there's something that I can look at that is going to create an easier, more effective way of doing it, that's not going to lose any of the integrity on the result. So if you've got a way that you like doing it, you don't have to keep on changing it. Just stick with what you got and you will become better at what you do. As long as the fundamentals are met when you're doing the headlight restoration, because there's more than one way to do anything, as long as the methodology stays the same. I do like the dry sanding. I did start wet sanding by hand, and so everything was by necessity at the beginning because I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the sandpaper that I have now. I just had off-the-shelf sheets of sandpaper, off-the-shelf generic clear that had a UV protection. It wasn't even designed for headlights, but you've got to start somewhere, and you've got to start with what you got. So and that's all you can do. So, and you can grow to such a point where you've got that starting point, and now you can hone your skills. But I was really fortunate, I believe, because I've only been doing this a very short time, and to learn the process that I believe is the one that suits my character, my results, really early on, without doing all the hard yards and just learning from other people, because success leaves clues. So, if anything that I do might tweak what you're doing, and you think it might help, use it. It's your process now. But if what you're doing, you believe, gets you the same results and without the effort or by doing the way you do it, stick to that. You don't have to buy the next best polish or the next best clear or the next best sandpaper and things like that to get the same results that you might be already getting. But having said that, in regards to that sanding, I did used to do the wet sanding, and I'm going to make a video of the same car, because it is my car, that I done my very first headlight with, and it was just a wet sand and a clear. It didn't even, it was a hazy finish, and then you put the clear on it. And then the other headlight was the same process, the by hand, the wet sanding, and by that time I implemented the polishing stage, but again, everything was by hand. So you can definitely see transition from the very first one to the second one, and on the video I will do using the whole technique that I'm doing now, so you will see the clarity that it takes from each process to get to the one that I have now. But in regards to the sandpaper, like I use a ceramic grain sanding disc, the 3-inch process. It is a local source. I did manage to talk to the guy who creates it, as it is his business. He doesn't make it. What he does, he gets the sheets and he cuts the discs out to whatever size you want. He's got sanding belts, so I'm going to leave that information in the bio and from each video that I do now, from where I get it. I'll also leave the website where you can buy the sandpaper. There's also a discount code that'll give you that 10%. And like I'm on the same. I don't get any other benefits than that 10% discount code myself. But if it's something that you haven't found a great source on the sandpaper yet, to where you've got that go-to place where you can get great products, you might have to, you always find that the product that you want, be it 3M or anything else, you gotta do hunting high or low. So to get it, and it is quite expensive. I believe that this product, the ceramic grain, it is a great product. It does give you a good finish, and it on the dry sanding still it lasts. It's quite durable, So if you're using it on the wet sanding, I could only imagine it would double its life, because of the water and the lack of clagging and everything, or in the grit that it's dealing with. So like I say, I'll leave all that information in there. But other than that, like my process that I do, I do the prep, I do the taping, I then dry sand. I'm still on the fence about my starting grits. Like the sandpaper that I do get, it comes in a 320, a 400, 600, 8 and 1200. But I'm doing like with this one, like 600 is a really good starting point, because it is a great quality sandpaper. So, and the 600 seems to be biting through quite a lot of the standard oxidization. When you've got, you might come across someone that's done and put a 2K clear on it. That's obviously not designed for the plastic. It's designed for the surface metals and paint coverage. Because what happens, even so it looks good, and when you do it, it still looks, wow, it's still really clear. But the reason the 2K, when you see it peeling and breaking off, is because the plastic behind the 2K is breaking down, and the 2K isn't holding on to that surface anymore. So it's only because the surface under the 2K is breaking down that the 2K is coming off. So if you see a 2K product on a light and it's starting to splinter and break off, the plastic underneath is really starting to get damaged. So if that's a sales point for you and you could explain that to a potential customer, that might get you in the door to do the job in it. But it's not the nicest material to take off from a lens. So when that does happen, and I've found that, like, I've gone to the 400 and it just hasn't quite got that bite to break through it. So I have gone to that 320 just to just to take that layer off and get a bite onto the plastic. So, and once you've done that, it starts coming off, reasonably well, and you do go through a bit of material breaking that 2K away, but that would be the only time you'd really need to do that 320 and potentially the 400 with the heavy oxidization. Sometimes that 600 is still a good starting point, because the simple fact being that there is no clear left on there, so you're just getting rid of that oxidization, where the clear's gone and the oxygen is getting into the plastic, and it's breaking it down to oxidize. So if you can start with the 600 as a general rule using this product, this sandpaper, you do save a lot of money by not having to worry about any other product, any other higher grade. So, and I found that that's the case, unless it's that 2K in that, the 600 is usually a pretty safe starting point. And with that sandpaper, it doesn't matter what the grit is, it's still the same price, and when you're buying a box, it's even cheaper. And then when you're buying with that discount code, you could be spending like around 65 cents for a disc. And on some of these lights that you do now, like when it's not 2K, that 1/600 is all you need to do that whole coat and the whole surface of the lens to get it to the next step. And then you use another 1/800 disc, and that will get it to the next stage. I do use that second 800 because I use it on the handpiece, and I have gone to the machine, and I have got that interface, the padding and all that sort of stuff, which you can also buy from that same website. But I have got a pack of those interfaces. So now, rather than using, when you're doing it by hand, rather than your fingers on the back of that sandpaper, I'm now using the interface and the hand and the little hand gimbal that you're holding onto as well. So it does help with that interface, that 10mm padding, when you're doing surfaces like this, because not that you can see it a great deal, but around that main light there is quite an oval, a round shape, and right on the side of it there's a sharp little protruding bit that comes out. So right where that blower's going over there, right on the edge. So when you're doing it by hand, like I just pointed to, when you're doing that part by hand and that padding, you can get right into that groove without any worry about burning it with the machine and all that, So you just do that flat surfaces with the machine, and the handpiece comes in really nicely with that interface. So, and this is the process that I've come to use, and I'll continue to use. So, that the only thing that I'm really still looking at is the quality of the tape that I'm using. Even so, this is designed for the automotive. I think it's for when they oven bake up to around 60-70 degrees. Like, I'm going to still use another automotive tape, probably that green one, and just test the difference, because I think the yellow is a bit papery, so to speak, and it tears. And so when you're peeling it off, sometimes there's a little bit, it gets stuck in between the fender and the lens, where you got to pick it out, sort of thing. So I'm going to test the green one to see if it does come off in one hit really nicely. So that would be the only thing that I'll be looking at changing now. So other than the taping off process, where you do that around the immediate lens, like I do lift the bonnet, whenever possible, because then that's this product that you don't have to use along the top and potential damage to that painted surface. You can see there I've got that green blanket, and that fits perfectly over engine bays. It's just a good size, probably about 5 by 4 foot sort of size, and it just tucks in nicely and covers, so any dust that you're doing, it captures that. So if you're doing someone with a nice engine bay, it doesn't interfere with that where you've got to go and clean it off again. So that really does protect the engine bay. So and when you, like I say, with the taping, like I'm doing 3 layers of tape around that immediate lens, like you can see there, like it's a bit heavier and then it goes into that lighter taping section. So three layers around the immediate lens itself, just to protect from that slips and grabs of when you're using the drill with the sanding disc. And then I like to do maybe another 3 overlapping layers of tape, which would give you that another 3 to 4 inches protection away from the lens. From that I do the dry sanding, going through that, and from the dry sanding I'll do this. Only thing I change is the grit size, and then I'd go to the hand on the 800, so. And then you finish off with the 3000 Trizac. You go through, and then again you just start with the polish, and you get it to such a surface where you like what you're seeing, and you can. It's just a matter of just applying the clear, because you've already got it to a great state. So yeah, and then you get to the clear coating. So. And that's basically all I'll be doing from now on in. So if any of this was useful, like, subscribe, add comments, tell me what you do. And let's just keep on building this community and learning from each other. Have a great day.